And let's take a look at what we're dealing with right here with one of the people that made it happen. Okay? Clark Brewster is Stormy Daniels' lawyer. And I appreciate you coming on here on the eve of this being unsealed. I want to take a step back, counselor. Why does your client take such enthusiasm at her role in this situation? What does she think she is achieving by basically blowing up what she had agreed to not speak about?
Well, first of all, I want to say your commentary was very provocative, Chris. Very wise analysis, in my view. I don't think that the story is accurate that she's taking such glory or pleasure in what has occurred here with the indictment of President Trump. I think it's more of the success of the facts being presented to seemingly, hopefully, independent jurors that gave their time, their personal time, as well as their professional time to sit through the evidence and make a decision, and have reached the point that they made a decision that he has committed a crime. It's not the charge itself; it's the fact that the truth is being aired in a forum in which her knowledge and belief and evidence has been endorsed and accepted. And I think that's really the feeling that she's expressed to me.
Well, all right, counselor, I think that you would stipulate that it's not like she knows that a campaign finance violation was committed. And that is not, a character assessment in any way. I'm saying it just had nothing to do with the scope of her dealings or counsel's dealings with the other side. The part I don't get about this is, and she does seem to show an enthusiasm. I'm not afraid of Trump because I've seen him naked and all the little quips and the stuff that she sells. I think there seems to be some level of enjoyment here. But I don't get the truth aspect of it. She made a deal, pay me and I won't say anything, and then decided to speak anyway. What gives her the high ground exactly?
Well, I mean, you can question her breaching some agreement, but I take issue with regard to her being happy about what's happened or her not having knowledge of criminal activity. Those two premises are not fully on all square. She
Well,
has
hold
a
on,
private.
counselor, not to shut you off, but just to redirect. What criminal activity is your client aware of that can be demonstrated?
Well, I mean, with regard to all the elements of the payoff, the fact that after the NDA agreement was executed, I mean, great pressure was being placed on her. There was a leak from Cohen to many others that confronted her about it. They breached the agreement first. They put pressure on her not to speak in spite of that breach. I mean, there was a lot of play between 2006 and 2018, frankly, or 16, I should say. But I don't want
I'll
to get
give you
into
the
those
breach of the
details. But
agreement. I'll give you
how's
the
that?
breach of the agreement, but I'm saying what Michael Cohen did, people can like it, they don't like it, whatever. This is not an unusual arrangement. It is not illegal on its face. He paid. How they booked it as a transaction may have had business records implications, tax implications, but she doesn't know anything about any of that, or neither did counsel at the time, nor do you, except what we're learning in the wider investigation, right?
Yeah, well, there's a difference between you measuring her indignancy about criminal acts perpetrated against her in connection with that transaction and the airing of facts that they made a decision that this equates to an element of a crime or the crime itself. The upshot of it is, I mean, she's really been through a lot, frankly. I mean, they filed the action to enforce the agreement and got a kind of a sham arbitration. I mean, there's a lot of details here, Chris, that are glossed over. And there's another thing about her. She has a very private side, and then she has a public side. And on the public side, she's witty and she's funny and she makes jokes and things like that. That really doesn't equate to the more private side of her and what's happened to her. I've represented her since February of 19. I've come to know her well. I've seen her in a lot of different circumstances, in courtrooms, in depositions, and otherwise. She's actually very bright. She's very quick-witted. For me, she's been consistent with her story on all the matters I've represented her on. She's quite remarkable, frankly. If the people come to know her for who she really is, they'll be quite impressed, frankly.
Is she on the witness list, and is she willing to take the stand about this?
Well, she's always been willing to be cooperative with law enforcement. That's always been the case. We've made that very clear from the outset. They didn't call her in front of the grand jury, and you can imagine, as a lawyer, as a prosecutor, they make strategic decisions with regard to that.
Right.
I don't think that this case could be tried without her being a witness in front of the petit jury, though.
Right. The petit jury would be the specific jury at any trial, is what
Right.
counsel's relating to. I appreciate your candor very much. Your client is absolutely punny, and there's no question about that. And I am not disparaging her in any way. I just wanted to ask some questions because she's such a central figure in here. And I think a lot of people forget exactly how this all began and why it has been important for her to motivate it. So thank you for giving us perspective on that, counsel.
No problem.
Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, and you can find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button down below. Then you will get more of NewsNation's fact-driven coverage.